Let me ask you a very honest question. If you stepped away from your business for 30 days, what would happen? Would the team keep moving? Would customers still be looked after? Would sales still keep coming in? Would cash flow still be managed? Quality stay consistent? Would decisions still get made? Or would the whole business start slowing down because everyone is waiting for you? Now, here's the real question behind that question. If your business cannot run without you, exactly what are you selling when it comes time to exit the business? Because for many business owners, the dream is this: build the business, grow the business, work hard for years, and then one day sell it for a strong return. But the reality is very different. Many owners don't build a business that's ready to sell. They build themselves a very demanding job, a job with risk, stress, staff, debt, customers, overheads, and no real off switch. And when they finally get tired enough to say, I'm ready to sell, they discover the business is worth far less than what they hoped. Why? Because the value was never really in the business. The value was trapped in the owner. I'm Phil Badura, and today I want to talk about how we change that. This is about succession and exit readiness. It's about building a sale-ready business years before you actually want to sell. It's about creating a business that works without you, so when the time comes, you can achieve a real return on the time, energy, and money that you've invested in building the business to where it is today. Most business owners think exit planning is something you do when you're nearly ready to leave. That's the first mistake. Exit planning is not an event, it's a strategy. You don't wake up one morning, decide you're tired, call a broker, and expect the market to reward you for 20 years of hard work. The market doesn't pay you for effort. The market pays you for value. And value comes from systems, people, profit, consistency, repeatability, customer loyalty, leadership depth, clean numbers, documented processes, and reduced reliance on the owner. That's why succession planning and exit readiness need to begin years before the sale, not months, years. Because a buyer, a successor, a management team, or even your family members don't just want to know what the business has done in the past. They want to know whether the business can continue to perform in the future without you holding it all together. That's the key. A sale-ready business is not just profitable, it is transferable. A sale-ready business is not just busy, it is systemized. A sale-ready business is not just dependent on one charismatic founder. It has leadership, structure, accountability, and rhythm. So when I work with business owners, one of the first mindset shifts we often have to make is this: you are not just building income for today, you are building an asset for tomorrow. And assets are built intentionally. Let's get very practical. Imagine two businesses. Business A has good revenue. The owner knows every customer. The owner approves every quote. The owner solves every problem. They manage the whole team. They handle every supplier relationship. The owner checks the numbers, and they are the safety net for everything. From the outside, it might look like a successful business, but to a buyer, it looks risky, because if the owner leaves, what leaves with them? The relationships, the knowledge, the decision-making, the confidence, the culture, even the momentum. Now let's look at Business B. Business B has documented systems. It has a leadership team. It has clear roles and responsibilities. It has weekly meeting rhythms with dashboards. It has repeatable sales processes and has customer experience standards. It has managers who can make decisions, and it has clean financial reporting and has a pipeline of future leaders. The owner still matters, but the business does not collapse without them. Which business attracts a better valuation? Business A or Business B? Business B does. Why? Because buyers don't just buy history. They buy future confidence. They want to know the business can keep producing results when the founder steps back. So the real work of exit planning is not just finding a buyer. The real work is removing risk. And in most small to medium businesses, the biggest risk is the owner being too central. I've said this to many clients many times. The more your business depends on you, the less valuable it is to someone else. That can be hard to hear, but it's also liberating, because once you understand it, you can start fixing it. Business owners invest 3 major things into their business: time, energy, and money. Time away from the family, time thinking about problems after hours, time on the tools, on the phone, in meetings, chasing payments, solving staffing issues, quoting jobs, and fixing mistakes. Energy spent carrying responsibility, energy spent holding the team together, worrying about cash flow, quality, staff performance, customers, growth, and risk. Money invested into equipment, stock, wages, marketing, premises, vehicles, advisors, technology, and opportunities. Now here's the question. After all that, what is the return? A business owner should be rewarded twice. First, through profit while they own the business, and second, through equity value when they exit. But too many business owners only build the first one, and sometimes not even that well. They build a business that pays them a wage, maybe produces some profit, but never becomes a strong, saleable asset. That is why succession planning matters. Exit readiness is not just about retirement, it's about respect for the years that you've already invested. It's about saying, I'm going to build this business in a way that gives me options. So what are the options? The options could be to sell, to step back, to promote a general manager, to bring in a family successor, maybe to merge with someone else, to attract investors, or to keep ownership while others run the day-to-day. A business that works without you gives you options, and it's those options that create freedom. Now here's where we need to get honest. A sale-ready business is not only built through systems, it is built through the owner changing first. At Action Coach, we often talk about be, do, have. 1, who do we need to be? 2, what do we need to do? 3, so that you can have the result that you want. If you want to have a sale-ready business, you cannot continue being the bottleneck. You need to become a different kind of leader. So here are the key traits. First, you must become strategic. That means lifting your eyes from the urgent and focusing on the important. Many owners spend their week reacting. Staff issue, customer complaint, late job, cash flow pressure, supplier problem. They feel busy, but busy is not the same as being productive. Strategic owners ask, what is the one change that will improve the business permanently? Now, second, you must become disciplined. Exit-ready businesses are not built through random bursts of effort. They are built through consistent rhythms. Weekly meetings, monthly numbers, quarterly planning, regular review teams, documented processes, and follow-through. Third, you must become accountable. You can't blame the team for poor systems you haven't built. You can't blame managers for unclear expectations. You can't blame staff for inconsistent or inconsistency when the business has no standards. For things to change, first the owner must change. Now, fourth, you must become a developer of people. Succession planning is not just replacing yourself at the end. It is developing people along the way. So identifying things like who can lead, who can manage, who can sell, who can train others. Not everyone is a natural trainer. Who can make decisions, and who can own outcomes. And fifth, you must become comfortable letting go. This is often the hardest one. Many owners say they want the business to run without them, but they keep taking control back. They override managers, they answer every question, they fix every mistake, and they stay involved in everything. Then they wonder why nobody steps up. You cannot build leaders without making every decision for them. You have to create the system, set the standard, and coach the person, then allow them to own the result. I'll say that again. Then allow them to own the result. Now let's talk about attention, focus, and energy. Because this is where many owners go wrong. They put their attention on the loudest problem, not the most important problem. They put their focus on today's fire, not tomorrow's asset, and they put their energy into working harder, not building better. If you want to build a sale-ready business, you need to redirect your attention, focus, and energy toward the right things. Here are the areas that matter. Number 1, leadership. Leadership depth. Ask yourself, who runs the business when you're not there? Not who keeps things ticking for half a day. Who actually leads? A sale-ready business needs leadership depth. That means people who can make decisions, lead the meetings, manage accountability, coach other team members, communicate clearly, and protect the standards. In one client example, I've worked with a trade-based business owner who was stuck approving every job, every quote, and every staffing decision. He was exhausted. The business had good demand, but it couldn't scale because every road led back to him. The first step wasn't more marketing. It wasn't more sales. It was leadership structure. We mapped the key decisions he was making each week. Then we separated them into 3 groups. Number 1, decisions only the owner could make. Number 2, decisions a manager could make with guidelines. And then 3, decisions the team should already be making. From there, we created clear authority levels. The result was not instant perfection, but it changed the business. The team started thinking, the manager started leading. The owner started moving from daily problem solver to business builder. That is exit readiness in action. Number 2, documented systems and processes. If the way your business works only exists in people's heads, your business is going to be fragile. A business doesn't want tribal knowledge. A successor doesn't want guesswork. A manager doesn't want to rely on memory. You need documented systems, not 1,000-page manuals that nobody reads. Simple, clear, usable procedures. Things like, how do we quote? How do we onboard new customers? How do we handle complaints? How do we order new stock? How do we check quality? Things like, how do we follow up leads? How do we recruit? How do we train? And how do we run weekly meetings? The goal is consistency, because consistency builds confidence, and confidence builds value. Number 3, financial clarity. A business that is sale ready must have clean numbers, not numbers the owner sort of understands, not numbers that only the accountant looks at once a year. Real numbers that identify the health of the business. And it's the numbers that are important might include revenue, gross margin, profit and profit margin, cash flow forecasting, debtors and creditors, inventory levels, things like wages as a percentage of revenue. What's the customer acquisition cost? What's your conversion rate? Leads to sales. Average dollar sale. Repeat business. And how big is your forward pipeline? Maybe measured in numbers of days. When I work with clients around profitability and growth, one of the big shifts is helping them stop making decisions from emotion and start making decisions from data. When you know the numbers, you will make the right decisions. Because what you measure, you master. If you're preparing for exit, your numbers tell a story. They either tell a story of control, consistency and growth, or they tell a story of confusion. Buyers pay more for confidence. Clean numbers create confidence. Number 4, customer concentration and recurring revenue. Here's a major risk many owners don't think about. What happens if your biggest customer leaves? If 1 or 2 customers represent a large percentage of your revenue, that can reduce business value. It creates risk. A sale-ready business should have a healthy spread of customers, reliable demand, and where possible, repeat or recurring revenue. That means your attention, focus and energy needs to go into building a marketing and sales system, not just relying on referrals and reputation. Referrals are great, but they are not always predictable. A buyer wants to see the new business can be generated consistently. Number 5 is team accountability and culture. A business that works without the owner needs a team that owns outcomes, not a team that waits to be told, not a team that blames others, not a team that only performs when the owner is watching. This is where leadership rhythm becomes critical. Weekly team meetings, clear scorecards, role clarity, one-on-one conversations, performance standards, training plans, and accountability reviews. I've worked with business owners who were frustrated because they felt that their team didn't take responsibility. But when we look closer, the team didn't actually know what winning looked like. There were no clear numbers, no clear standards, no clear meeting rhythm, and no consistent follow-up. Once we installed those rhythms, behaviour changed. Not because people magically became different overnight, but because the environment changed, the system changed. And remember this, systems create consistency, people create results. Now let's talk about succession. Many owners think succession means finding one person to replace them. Sometimes that's part of it, but succession is bigger than that. Succession means the business has a pathway for leadership continuity. It means critical knowledge is transferred, key relationships are shared, decision-making authority is distributed, future leaders are identified, training is intentional, roles and responsibilities are clear, and risk is reduced. It also means the owner has thought through the exit options. So, will you sell to an external buyer? Sell to management? Is there a family takeover? Retain ownership and appoint a general manager? Merge with another business? Even step back gradually? Each of these options requires preparation. For example, if you want a family member to take over, they need more than your surname. They need capability, credibility, leadership, skill, commercial understanding, and a respect of the team. If you want a manager to take over, they need training, authority, financial literacy, and a clear pathway. If you want to sell externally, you need clean systems, clean numbers, low owner dependence, and a growth story. So succession planning is not just about who takes over, it's about whether the business is strong enough for someone to take over successfully. Let me give you a practical checklist. A sale-ready business has these foundations in place. 1. The owner is not required for daily operations. 2. The business has documented systems for critical functions. 3. The team has clear roles, responsibilities, and accountability. 4. The leadership team can run meetings and make decisions. 5. Financial reports are accurate, timely, and useful. 6. Sales and marketing are consistent and trackable. 7. Customer relationships are held by the business, not just the owner. 8. Margins are understood and actively managed. 9. There is a clear growth plan for the next buyer, successor, or leadership team. And 10. the business has reduced risk across people, customers, systems, suppliers, and cash flow. Now, most businesses won't have all of that perfect today, and that's okay. The point is not perfection. The point is progress. You don't build a sale-ready business in one heroic push. You build it one system, one leader, one rhythm, one decision, one improvement at a time. And this is where coaching becomes powerful, because the owner often can't see the business clearly whilst they're buried inside it. They need somebody to challenge their thinking, someone to help identify the gaps, someone to help them keep them accountable, and someone to help them work on the right things in the right order. That's the work that I do with clients. Not just motivation, not theory, practical change. We look at where the owner is trapped, we identify the bottlenecks, we map the systems, we review the numbers, we build the team rhythm, and we create the action plan. Then we hold the owner accountable to doing the work that actually changes the business. The biggest shift in exit readiness is this. Stop asking, how do I get through this week? And start asking, what am I building that someone else would value? That question changes everything. It changes how you lead. It changes how you spend your time. It changes how you train your team, how you make decisions. It changes what you measure, and it changes what you tolerate. Because if you're serious about succession and exit, you cannot keep building a business around your own personal effort. You must build it around commercial value. A business that works without you is not just better for a buyer. It's better for you now. You get back more time. You make better decisions. Your team grows. Your customers get consistency. Your profit improves, stress reduces, and your options increase. That's the real win. Exit readiness is not about leaving the business tomorrow. It's about building a stronger business today. So here's my challenge to you. Don't wait until you're tired, burnt out, or ready to sell before you start preparing your business for exit. Start now, because the work that you do today reduce owner dependence, strengthen your team, improve your systems, and clean up your numbers is the same work that will make your business more profitable, more enjoyable, and more valuable. And when the day comes that you're ready to step back, sell, or hand the business on, you'll be doing it from a position of strength, not desperation. If this message made you think, I need to get my business ready, then let's have a conversation. At ActionCOACH Business Steps, we help business owners move from chaos to control, from owner dependence to team accountability, and from daily firefighting to building a business that can grow, scale, and one day work without them. Schedule a meeting, let's identify the gaps, and let's build the plan. Let's help you create a business that rewards you for all the time, energy, and money that you've invested. Take action, get results.